Hello everyone and welcome back to Dark Souls 1. This is part 3 of our axe run, which last time, if you remember, we went all the way through Blighttown, through Sen's Fortress, through Anor Londo, and have gotten ourselves the Lord Vessel. And for this part, my plan was to go through and beat two of the big, Lord bosses. And first on the chopping block was going to be Seath, which, while going after these boars, 32 damage, if you see that, with the plus 10 hand axe. And with the base battle axe, we did 27. So, it's like 5 less damage. Even though there's a 10 upgrade difference. And here I realized the butcher knife has a different attack. Like a different heavy attack, depending on if you one-hand or two-hand it. But I was just looking at these because against these boar enemies, the base battle axe was actually better than the plus 10 hand axe. Because the plus 10 hand axe, well, it did 5 more damage per attack, it bounced off, which I believe took more stamina. Definitely took longer and felt clunkier, left you open to attacks more. And so this is another reason why it's important to check different weapons in the weapon class, because they're not all the same. Same weapon class, but there's differences between them. But while going through here, I realized the arrow guy, like the bow guy, had clear line of sight of us, but you can see the arrow was floating, which I had to turn back to kind of laugh at, because hitbox moment. Usually it hurts us, that time it helped us, but again, stuff like that is why I wish Dark Souls 1 got a proper remake, because it'd make that so much better. But going up to the boss, thankfully from Sen's Fortress, after Ricard, however you say his name, we got a rare Ring of Sacrifice, which means we won't have to lose our souls, which is nice. And, I mean, this is a scripted death, so we're gonna die. So if you want to count it, you can. I don't, because it's scripted, you're supposed to die. But here we got Cursed, but Raring a Revival breaks Curse, which I wasn't counting on getting Cursed, but that's just how things ended up. And thankfully, because the game decided to be nice and generous, it did save us from chopping our health in half. And here I was looking at the Dragon Slayer Great Bow, because it takes 20 dexterity. We have 9. So we'd have to level up dexterity 11 times for a run where we don't use dexterity. And then going to New Game Plus, we may use great axes, which also don't use dex. So it would just be a waste of levels. So I figured, even though that's how I normally kill the Hydra, this time around I think I will find a different way to kill the Hydra. It'll be a little difficult, but I believe in us. You got this, right? You got this, bud. But 1, 2, 3. That was a good arrow dodge. 4, 5, 6. That threw me off so hard when it happened, because it's like, my guy, you have a sword. Use it. It's like, the bow guys only use 1 attack, but that's because they only have 1 attack, and they're using their weapon. Again, the sword guys have a sword, but he went 6 attacks without using the sword. He has variety, but he denies using the variety. It makes no sense to me. But we move on, and it was here that I realized something. At the end of the last one, like at the end of the last part, I was going to go get the very large ember. But at the start of this one, I forgot. And I realized I could go, like I could go back, because this is a warpable bonfire. So I could warp over to Firelink Shrine, get it, level up our hand axe, and then warp back here. And I wouldn't lose any progress. Bit of time, yeah, but I wouldn't lose any progress. Like, I wouldn't have to go through the same area twice. But I decided against it because Seath is usually a very easy boss. And I figured I can go without it. That's called foreshadowing. But here, in this room with these enemies, which are much harder than Seath, is why I realized... Like, this is where I realized why I usually save Duke's Archives for last. It's not because it has magic. It's because this one room is so freaking weird. The enemies come at you in a very weird pattern. So I usually like to have the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring and the Fog Ring to help me out a bit, which you can't get the Fog Ring until you go down into the catacombs. But seeing as we're doing this area first, which I decided to do it first this time, just to mix things up, which I've been doing this run so far and will maybe, possibly, perhaps continue to do, who knows? DLC right after this, who knows, maybe. But, I mean, we have a good weapon class, so we figured it out. But it took a little bit of moving rings around, but I figured I can go in now, and I only have 4 Estus, and I'm not at full health, but it's fine. Seath is an easy boss. We got this. I will let this play itself out. I may or may not have let the arrogance sleep in and underestimated Seath. Probably shouldn't have gone in at not full health. Maybe should have had the Spellstone Plate Ring. Who knows? But here's when I decided maybe it's a good time to do the original plan that I rebuffed originally of heading on back and getting the very large ember to upgrade our weapon. That sounds like a good idea. So off we go. And if you've seen my previous runs, you know this. The power of parrying is more than enough proof to push down pessimism. I had a better one, but I forgot it in the middle of editing. I'm sorry. You deserve better, but I cannot provide. I'm sorry. But moving on. We take out the ghosts, get the Firekeeper soul, which at this point we can have like 5, but partially I'm lazy, partially that's killing NPCs, which I don't want to do. So we'll stick with 2 for now. And we get the Curse Bite Ring because some of Seath's, like, the follow-ups to the attacks, or some of them at least, build up Curse, which I don't have any more break Curse things, so we decided to get the Curse Bite Ring for safety's sake, and then head on up to get the key to the seal. because Key to the Seal is good. Where we can then whoosh out all of the water, which for some reason doesn't push over any of the drakes, wyverns, dragons. What's the difference? I don't know. I mean, know the difference between dragons and wyverns, but I don't know what constitutes for drake. I don't know, man. But we get a Titanite chunk, which is very nice. Drop another guy, get another Titanite chunk, which is very nice. And then we go and we get the very large embers, so we can use those Titanite chunks. Because, I mean, as long as gravity doesn't kill us first. Because the way I roll, it's very possible that gravity could kill us first. I mean, let's be real here. I underestimate gravity all the time. But we grab another Titanite chunk, and here I realized we've grabbed a lot, so I went to go check, and we have 8. To get a weapon from plus 10 to plus 14, you need 9. So, we're only 1 away. Which, in this upcoming room, in the back right side of it, there's a chest with a Titanite chunk. And there's also 4 dark wraiths that we haven't killed yet. And they all have a chance to drop it. Like, drop another Titanite chunk. So, we could get 5, who knows? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's 1 guaranteed. But, after taking out this guy, he gives 1, which is very nice. And then open this up, and that's another 1. The guaranteed 1. Again, very nice. Now, we could fight 4 kings, but I have no Estus, and I want to go get revenge on Seath. So, first thing is first, I suppose. And taking out this guy, he decided to be very generous and drop us 2. Which is absolutely wonderful. I don't know why, but this area, this little run through, was super, super generous with the Titanite chunks. Which, I mean, hey, another one, I'll take it. Thank you, that's very generous of these guys. Maybe this was them saying sorry for taking, like, 7 hours to get the, for me to get the Titanite slab. But, anyways, coming through here, I did something that at the time meant absolutely nothing to me, which was picking up the Ring of Favor and Protection. And the reason why it meant nothing to me was because it breaks when you take it off. And so I normally just don't care about it because I don't like things like that. I don't like consumables or one-time only things. But little did I know, this would actually become very, very important for this run. So keep that in mind. Just store it in the back of your brain that we picked up the Ring of Favor and Protection at this point. And here we decided to get rid of some stuff just for some extra souls because we can. Because souls are nice. And here, I accidentally got rid of a gargoyle tail axe, which I didn't mean to do. Because I wanted to have 2 for something else. Now here, I was looking at the crystalline set because I don't have it dedicated to any other runs. I'm not gonna use it this run, don't worry. This was a red herring that I didn't mean to do at the time. Although, I mentioned foreshadowing, and that came true. I mentioned foreshadowing again with the ring. Maybe here I'm doing double psychology. Reverse psychology. I don't know terms, I'm sorry. But Maybe I do use it, actually. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. You'll have to see, you'll have to see. But from here, we go back to Andre, cash in our very large ember, which here I remembered the spider shield was at +5, but we can ignore that for now. We're here, 8 base, 7 additional, that's 15 damage on paper. Which, sorry if I do that calculation weird. But from here, 8, 3, that's another 11 damage on paper. 8 base, 4 additional, that's another 12 damage. And then 8 base, 7 additional, that's another 15. So, that's roughly like 50-ish damage or so. Which, I'm still going to upgrade the butcher knife. Or at least that's the plan, as of right now. And considering how extremely rare Titanite slabs are, I decided to hold off, not bring the hand axe to +15, because I don't want to go through another thing of wasting like 7 hours trying to get one Titanite slab. So only using them if it's absolutely necessary, or pretty close to it. But here I figured we were more set up, we were more prepared. But there was one more thing to do, and that was to go through Sen's Fortress and to spend pretty much all of our souls on the spell Stoneplate Ring. Because that, with the Curseplate Ring, should make Seath a lot easier. Should. Take note on the word should.
Go along, try and make something, but nothing will.
For no reason. Just like how he bought those bolts. Absolutely no reason at all. But after coming back through, we made sure to have 10 Estus. And with that, I will let this attempt play itself out. Little weird, because my previous runs have all taught me that with the big AoE attack, running to the fog gate makes you safe, but it didn't there, which was very weird, but whatever. 60k, we got the win this time. We got our souls back from when we died to him. And we beat him with the hand axe +14, the spider shield +5, the brigand set +5, the spellstone plate ring, curse bite ring, and 2 sips of the Estus. Which, We didn't use the spider shield, but we had it on, so. And we beat him at level 56 with 31 vitality, 31 endurance, 30 strength, 9 dexterity, 11 resistance, and we beat them second try. Which isn't something I say too often. Second try is not a very common thing, especially when it comes to Seath. I think this is the first time we've ever died to him outside of the scripted death. So, that's something to take note of, I suppose. But here, we got a decent chunk of levels. And we got to evenly spread them all to 32. The 3 that we care about, at least. And here we decided to pop some souls because I wanted to get to 20k. Because at 20k we can buy the Crest Artorias. And we had some souls left over, so we decided to buy some more standard bolts. For no reason. These standard bolts are being bought for no reason. We're not gonna do anything with them. Don't you worry about that. And yes, we are upgrading the light crossbow. For no reason. This has nothing to do with us being too scared to fight the Hydra legitimately. Nothing to do with that at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's just move on and go fight Sif. Because we can. You know, I was just doing that to spend the souls, you know? No other reason, nothing to do with the Hydra. But, moving on, if you watch my previous runs of these, you may be a little confused about us going to Sif now, because I tend to save Sif and Four Kings for last. But this run, I've said it before this time, I wanted to switch up how we did our pathing, how we went through the world in each area. So, we decided to do this earlier than usual, but that being said, we are coming in with 8 Estus, take note of that, and I will let this attempt play itself out. Alright. Siffy boy down. Wonderfully done. The B ring and 40k. Now we beat Sif with the hand axe plus 14, the spider shield plus 5, Brigand set plus 5, ring of steel protection, wolf ring, and 3 sips of the Estus, because we came in with 8. And we beat them at level 60 with 32 vitality, 32 endurance, 32 strength, 9 dexterity, 11 resistance. And we beat them first try. Now, here, I decided to do something a little different. I decided to go straight for the Hydra. Which I normally do right after Sif, but again, I normally do Sif way later, so... Did Sif super early this run, doing the Hydra super early this run. And you may notice a weird animation after I shoot the crossbow sometimes. That's because I was trying to press basically the shield button, which is how you aim down the sights, or like zoom in with the bow and the great bow. And one, you can't do that with the crossbow in Dark Souls 1 for some reason. And so me hitting all these shots was just luck and not actually being able to aim. And two, trying to aim with the crossbow apparently punishes you by having a longer animation. But anyways, once we ran out of bolts, there was down to one head left, so we put on the rusted iron ring and came on down. Because I wasn't gonna give up because I ran out of bolts. But here, trying to see the ground is very difficult. And so I was really worried. I didn't want to push too far. But thankfully, the Hydra has garbage aim. And eventually, or maybe the whole time, but it just took me a while to notice, it was trying to show me where to go, which was very kind of it. Maybe it just wanted to be put out of its misery. Who knows? But with that, Hydra down. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to be doing the DLC right now. I'm not going to fight Artorias with a +5 brigand set. I don't hate myself that much. I just wanted to get the DLC set up. So we saved dust. And there was a second reason I came down here. Because being protected by the Hydra is a certain set, the Knight set, which I could have gotten this anytime, but it's very weighty. It takes a lot of equip load. And so I wanted to make sure that I had a very good base of endurance before going and getting it. Because if I got it at like 15 endurance, there was no way I was going to be able to wield it anytime soon. So, decided to get it now because 32, it's much closer to the hard cap, and it just felt a lot more stable. It felt like I was a lot closer to being able to wear the Knight set. But with that, I decided to head on off because there's one more guy here to kill. But before that, I noticed crystallized leggings worn by a hollowed knight. The crystalline set. Crystalline? Crystalline? I don't know. But it mentioned a knight, and if you look at the weights, they're the same. 6.4. Weights here are different, but 10.9. 4.2. So, yeah, they look different, but the crystalline set mentions Knight, and it weighs pretty much the same as the Knight set. There's nothing to that, I just thought it was neat. But here, since we need even more equip load, and because Havel is just here, basically right next to us, in terms of where the Hydra was, and because of how instrumental Havel's ring was in my first run with the great swords, I decided to go and get that. And here, I decided to do quite a bit of testing just to see where equip loads were, which 5, 7 we could do, or like 5 and 2 equaling up to 7 we could do, but we couldn't do 9. So we could do 7, not 9. And a bit of testing, bit more, because again, I wanted to get the butcher knife. I wanted to be able to use the butcher knife. And so we'd need an extra 10 for like our main weapon slot. And here, okay, we could use 7. Which I already figured out, so I don't know why I tested again. I don't know. That was a me being stupid moment. But it was around here that I remembered. It clicked in my brain. Ring of Favor and Protection. And I picked that up almost absent-mindedly because I saw an item. And so I decided to pick up item. But here, I figured it gives HP. I like HP. I want HP. It gives stamina. I like stamina. I want stamina. But most importantly, it gives equip load. And with that, we can have the 10 on. Which, yeah, moving from the Brigand set to the Knight set is more than 10. And we'd have to do that on top of... like, on top of the extra 8 that moving to the Butcher Knife would add on to us. But, still... here, I just wanted to see what the Brigand chest piece looked like. To see if maybe we could do a hybrid of part Knight set, part Brigand set. But I ultimately decided against that because it would make going through our equipment at the end of each boss more difficult. And it would just make it look not as good, which fashion is just as important as practicality in Dark Souls. Alright? You can do good, but what's the point of doing good if you don't look good doing it? Come on. But after a bit, we remembered to actually put on Havel's Ring, which with Havel's Ring, we could put on the entire Knight set. And then we could do 2, we could do 3, we could do 4. Could we do 5? No. So this then led to the question of, what do we prioritize, the Butcher Knife or the Knight set? And at the end of it, after a little bit of back and forth, I decided to prioritize the Knight set. Reason being is that 1, it gives more defense, 2, it gives poise. It was 46, which is a bit more than the Wolf Ring. Which, having more defense and slightly more poise, I don't know if it moves any breakpoints, but more defense, more poise is better than a new weapon that has more range and maybe a bit more damage. Don't worry, we are going to get to the Butcher Knife eventually. Maybe. Now, here, while going back to the bonfire, we got the Battle Axe. Now, this is important because I accidentally sold one of the Gargoyle Tail Axes, which, Core of an Iron Golem, we need to take a plus 10 axe and use the Core of an Iron Golem to get Golem's Axe, which I was originally going to use a Gargoyle Tail Axe for this, but again, accidentally sold it. And we can't use the hand axe because then we would lose the hand axe. And so I figured I was going to either buy another hand axe or buy another battle axe. But we no longer need to do that because good RNG random drop. So we're still gonna need to upgrade it. We still need to upgrade it to plus 10, but now we don't need to buy it. So it only saves us a little bit of time going to Andre and 800 souls, but hey, it's just nice to have, right? And here, we could get 2 levels. And up to this point, I've been spreading my levels evenly between Vitality, Endurance, and Strength. But here I figured my health is fine. I don't need to worry about health right now, and I don't need to worry about damage right now. So I would rather pour all of my levels into endurance, just to get to that equip load that I need as fast as possible. And we can now use 5, which 4 and then 2, that's 6. So now we've hit the 5 breakpoint, but not the 6. But progress is still progress. We'll take it. And from here, we head off, and I noticed something a little funny. The physical defense says 14.0 for both, but it was blue for one of them, indicating that it has higher 14.0, which I just thought that was funny.
Well,
It doesn't affect anything, but funny to me, at least. But here, I was under the assumption that the Knight set, just like the Brigand set, would go under 112. So it would take 1 Titanite shard for +1, 1 Titanite shard for +2, and then 2 for +3. And so I could do, like, I could get the entire set up to +2 for 8 Titanite shards. But here, instead of 1-1, it took 1-2. And so I figured, okay, I need to follow through on this. I need to see what it takes. So instead of 1-1-2, it took 1-2-3, leading to 6 instead of 4. Which isn't a big change, but it really throws off my calculations. It really throws off how much you need. Because that's 2, 4, 6, 8. That's an extra 8 to get like the entire set to +3. Which, again, this really hurts the math, and it makes it a lot harder to calculate how many materials you need.
well,
But the Knight set requiring more materials than the Brigand set feels more realistic. And so I think I prefer it. Even though it makes it harder on me,
get you.
and even though it takes more materials and more resources, I still think I prefer it, just because it's more realistic without being, like, too bad. It doesn't feel awful. But from here, I decided to go back to the Brigand set, and then go take on 4 Kings now. Which, we got hit, so I decided to just drop in, which we have Covenant of Artorias, don't worry. We're not doing that again. Now, take note, no boss health bar yet. We take a sip. So, by the time the boss health bar appears, we have 8 Estus. And with that being said, I will let this attempt play itself out. The grab attack was slightly unfortunate because it's so rare that off the top of my head, in the middle of the fight, I don't know how to deal with it, so I panicked and got hit, and it took my humanity, but oh well. 60k is good. It's definitely worth it. And we beat him with the hand axe plus 14, the spider shield plus 5, the brigand set plus 5, covenant of Artorias, ring of favor and protection, 3 sips of the Estus flask because we came in with 8. And we beat him at level 62 with 32 vitality, 34 endurance, 32 strength, 9 dexterity, 11 resistance, and we beat them first try. And then here, I decided to pop all my souls, except, like, popped all the boss souls as well, except for Core of an Iron Golem. And then this got us decent chunk of levels, got us 6, and got us nearly halfway to another one, which, decent chunk of stamina, decent chunk of equip load. And then I decided to head on back to Firelink, just to have a more palatable background, to test how much we could have now. So we moved back to Havel's Ring, and put that on, move back to the night set, and we can do 5, which we could do before. 5, and then 2, so that's 7. We can do 7 now. And then 4 and 4, 8, so we can do 8 now. And then 4 and 5, can't do 9. So, not quite there yet. Which means we're going to have to push past the 40 endurance hard cap, which will only get us equip load. It'll no longer give us stamina. But still, we're almost there. We can do 7 now. And we move back to the brigand set just because we want to keep it like this for now. And at this point, we made good progress. We went through all of Duke's archives, we took out Sif, we went through all of Anor Londo, we took out the 4 kings, we got a bunch of levels, we got access to the DLC, we got a lot of good progress. We can now wield both of these quite easily. And I mean, we just took out a good chunk of what we wanted to. We made more progress than I kind of thought we would, and it felt pretty good. This felt like a good place to end it. And here, to bequeath the Lord's souls, and here's where I remembered the Peculiar Doll, which I forgot to do. I was gonna do it earlier, but forgot. So whoops. But I figured next time will be good for, like, finishing our full setup with the knight set and the butcher knife. Because saving that for next time will give us a good goal for then. But for now, we can wake this man up and, yeah.
No, no.